another person, that Dr. Peter Ogudoro, who is a lecturer and an astute PR practitioner, a lecturer of repute. Doctor, it's nice to have you on the program this evening. Good evening.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to join you, Chris.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining me. Yes, as I mentioned, the outgoing government have barely less than 10 days to leave, and come May 29th, we're going to swear in another new president who is going to handle the affairs of Nigeria in the next 4 years. One of the critical areas we'll be looking at is the education sector. If you have to set an agenda for this incoming government, what are key areas will you be looking at?
Well, it's important we find a realistic and sustainable funding model for the education industry in Nigeria. The current model we have is not working, and that's why we keep experiencing industrial action, because we don't have enough money flowing into, especially the tertiary level. For the primary level, we have done fairly well. Our children are entitled to free compulsory basic education. And I think governments that we have had for the past 20 years have made significant contribution in terms of getting as many children as possible into the education system. It was worse than what we have now, even though we are still not where we should be, because as we speak, we still have over 20 million Nigerian children who are not in the school system. But some of that has to do with the serious security challenges we have had in some parts of northern Nigeria. And so funding model is something we need to work on. We probably may have to bring parents to the table and get them to make some serious commitment on how they can contribute financially to help the government run the tertiary level of education. Because sometimes those of us who do research in the industry and globally wonder why parents would be happy to pay, let's say, 150,000 to keep a child in a primary school, and maybe 250,000 to keep a child in a secondary school, and only for that child to get to university, and the school fee we hear for universities like University of Lagos, Ibadan. Somebody offering political science, computer science is paying, let's say, 25,000 naira in a whole session. That's not realistic. Education is not cheap globally. Even in the United Kingdom, the average undergraduate pays as much as 9,000 pounds to keep a child who is British in the university in a year. And if you are an international student, you pay much more. In the US, is significantly higher than that. And so, but we know that there's poverty in our country. So if we get smart people involved, we are likely to work out a model that will enable those who can afford to pay, while those who lack the means to keep their children in universities to, have those children study under an arrangement that benefits from maybe a scholarship fund, or maybe lend them money so that when they graduate, they will now have the responsibility to pay back the money that enabled them to go to school. So funding model that we have now is decrepit. We also know that the private school system is not working well. Our children are not getting the best of education in the hands of private sector people. Those of us who do research in the industry know that many private sector primary and secondary schools are not engaging the best hands. The reason why it looks like they're trying is because they are very good with respect to supervision, but in terms of the capacity for teachers to deliver, we know that they are not pumping money into training teachers. So government has a responsibility to ensure that a Nigerian child is going to school and studying in systems that are managed by competent teachers. We don't seem to have that across board at the moment.
Let us look at...
and we also need to...
Yes, Doctor. Yeah. Let us look at the critical area, the issue of lecturers. And we have serious strikes over the years. How can we be able to solve this issue? This is a strike within the university, with the university lecturers and the government that takes so much time, at times up to a year. How would incoming government be able to handle that issue?
Yeah, we need to demonstrate integrity. If we have gone into agreements with lecturers, these are very educated people. They expect us to keep our word. And that's an honorable thing to do. And of course, as public officers, when we go into agreements and we keep those agreements, we are teaching the younger people, children, and everyone in society to learn how to keep agreements. And that's without trust, societies don't flourish. And so I think that we need to do something about honoring agreements that government willingly goes into. And it doesn't make sense asking people who lack authority and who don't have awareness regarding what government can do and what it cannot do to go and enter into agreements on behalf of government, only for us to realize later that we do not have what it takes to keep such agreements. And as I have already signposted, it is important we work out a funding model that is realistic and sustainable. The current funding model for tertiary level education in our country is unworkable, because it's not able to generate enough money to pay lecturers the kind of money that will keep them motivated and loyal to the system and working, and of course also doing cutting-edge research that will make us generate the manpower that we need to run the kind of economy that will help us overcome the challenges posed by high graduate unemployment in our country. So those issues need to be dealt with, and of course, let's put more money into research and get our lecturers to network with their colleagues across the world, so that they can make our education truly functional. At the moment, the people we are...
Yes, Doctor, finally, just in 30 seconds, now there's been this serious migration of Nigerian students abroad, so many of them moving abroad to study. And I know that, is it lack of interest in the education system in Nigeria, or because of the quality of education? How do we stop this migration that is practically blowing everybody, especially within the education sector?
Yeah, we don't need to be products of Oxford or Harvard University to know what the solution is. Offer Nigerian parents and their children good quality education, and make sure that the calendar runs smoothly and people will stop searching for better alternatives abroad. And that's a simple way to deal with that. And so, as soon as we find a funding model that will enable us to pay our lecturers and what they deserve, and ensure that they are able to do cutting-edge research and their laboratories are equipped to enable them to do their jobs well, this problem will disappear.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Dr. Peter Ogudoro, that's been very, very engaging. I thank you very much for being my guest this evening. And we'll still make our time to be able to talk to you again in the next few weeks. Thank you very much for being my guest this evening. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. Yeah.
Now, when we come back, I will take you straight to Enugu, where we're discussing the last gubernatorial election in Enugu State. Just stay tuned.